The CoinDesk Spotlight is brought to you by Nexo, the place to earn on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and more.
Play-to-earn crypto games are in the spotlight today among users and regulators in the Philippines. Regulators there looking to tax potential earnings from gamers earning crypto from games. What does it all mean for game developers and players and people investing in this space? It's lots to unpack here. We're looking forward to it. Joining us now to discuss are Beryl Li, co-founder of Yield Guild Games, and Miko Matsumura, who's the general partner of Gummy Cryptos Capital. Hi, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi.
Hello.
Beryl, I want to start with you. Really interesting model here with Yield Guild Games. I know one of your colleagues has described it as part Berkshire Hathaway and part Uber. Talk to me about your model and how it relates to this rising phenomenon of play to earn.
Okay, so maybe I'll tell you more about Yield Guild Games. We're a gaming guild that's structured as a decentralized autonomous organization. Primarily, we invest in gaming assets in the form of NFTs, focus on play-to-earn games, and we look into lending them out to our community of players.
Got it. So do you take a cut? Do you get a percentage of the earnings after you lend out these assets to players? Is that the primary way that you're generating returns? Or talk to me about that. Is it just the appreciation of these assets that you invest in? Really curious about how YGG sees itself making money.
Yes, so we actually loan our assets as a non-collateralized forms of loans to our community of players. And whenever the player actually uses these assets within the game, they end up earning in-game rewards. So as an example, with Axi Infinity, they need 3 gaming assets. They use that to battle with in the game called Axi Infinity, and they earn Smooth Love Potion. And the players earn from, they end up cashing out from $400 to $1,000 US. Now, Yield Guild Games, that actually ends up breeding the assets, handles custody. We keep 10%. 20% actually ends up with their manager who helps onboard the player, and 70% just stays with the player themselves.
Got it. So this has created a pretty thriving economy in short order. Miko, I want to go to you. I was looking at our past coverage, and we covered that first round way back in March of this year. It feels like so long ago. And you were involved in that investment. Talk to me early on, before this really sort of clicked with the mass imagination, why this seemed an attractive investment to your firm.
Yeah, so Gumi Cryptos Capital got very excited. I've known the Beryl and Gabby, her co-founder, for a number of years. But I think for us, the thing that got us excited is that we think that gamers is 3 orders of magnitude larger than current crypto population. So, there are literally billions of gamers here, and we think that this is really a huge growth opportunity.
Question for Beryl. So I understand that your center of gravity is kind of in the Philippines, and the Philippines has also been home to Axi Infinity, which has just been going gangbusters. So what is it about the Philippines specifically that is become the center for this sort of gaming universe?
Right. So Axi Infinity really clicked during the pandemic, during the COVID lockdowns, and that is due to a lot of people losing jobs. So before the COVID pandemic, there was already a 20 to 30% underemployed, sorry. And due to the pandemic, a lot of people who've been working as drivers, factory workers, those that actually do mostly physical labor with no savings. They're desperate for another source of income. And here comes Axi Infinity, where you could actually just spend your time at home. As long as you have a mobile phone and an internet connectivity, you can end up playing, and you actually end up spending more time with the game, and you earn more in-game rewards if you actually win. And this in-game rewards in the form of crypto could actually be cashed out with regulated exchanges in the Philippines, and they could actually turn that into fiat currency in Philippine pesos. And this is what our players actually use to put food on the table, buy milk for their kids. So it's grown quite significantly in the Philippines.
I understand that the Philippine government, though, is actually looking now to tax players of Axi Infinity, and what do you think that means for the gaming world? That seems like that could be a pretty significant development.
So I think like at this moment, the government is actually evaluating the taxes right now, but then because it's actually a form of income. The government is actually like pushing that people have to pay income taxes. But then it's quite a challenge because you're asking tax from a group of people who've never really had savings in the past, and they've never really filed taxes as well in the past, right? So from a minimum income or people who are unemployed in the past, now is actually like earning more than the minimum wage in the Philippines. From 400 to $1,000 per month, compared to the the minimum wage of $200. So I think there's a lot that regulators would have to do, to kind of educate the players as well on how to navigate the taxes. There could also be an exploration of incentives as well, just because the industry is still really new, play to earn, and because the Philippine economy is, we've repatriated OFWs, our main source of GDP in the country. I mean, the main source of income right now could actually be through playing games, and I think the government should actually encourage more players to look into it.
Beryl, a country a little northwest of the Philippines is a tiny country called China. They've recently cracked down, or they're going to start cracking down on kids using gaming down to 3 hours a week, which is about 1% of what most children do these days. Is that going to affect your business at all, or are you not seeing any volume right now out of China?
So at the moment, we're really focused on emerging economies. So mostly we have players from the Philippines, Indonesia. We're currently in Latin America, primarily Venezuela, Brazil, Peru. We also have some players from India.
Miko, I'll take this one to you. I mean, I think that you mentioned this, right? The opportunity around gaming is quite large, especially if there's these extra incentives to get you coming back for more in terms of real world economic value. I guess, taking into what Lawrence asked with sort of these regulatory crackdowns potentially looming in some pretty big markets, but then zooming out to the rise of the metaverse and all this play to earn activity, where do you see this subsector of the crypto world going in the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, this is really a huge shift. We think that this is part of what we call the ownership economy. So previously, all economic models have been extractive. So basically, that people have been seen as resources and users are seen as things that you extract money from. So the ownership economy is something that produces yield, because if you're an owner, you get yield. So this is really about sovereignty, and it's about freedom, and I think it's why you see things like China crack down, not just on Bitcoin, but on gaming itself, right? So as far as where do we see this going, we see YGG as being the first metaverse labor union, and we see it as really being a central hub in terms of not just Axi Infinity, but of course, all emerging blockchain games, play to earn, and with these new incentivized economic models. So extremely exciting.
So Miko, besides YGG, where else are you deploying capital? All due respect to YGG's fantastic work.
No, absolutely. We were an early strategic round investor in OpenSea, which I think recently did. They're bigger than Etsy now in terms of their total volume. So OpenSea has been fantastic. We also have an investment in Celsius networks. So we've been deploying across CeFi, DeFi. 1inch is another one of ours, as well as NFT and gaming. We do see a tremendous future in this next billion users coming from this play to earn gaming phenomenon. And of course, YGG is really a shining star in this emerging capability.